Hello students, myself Dr. Preeti Khatri, Assistant Professor SOIT. So today we will discuss about the system buses and the second topic is direct and indirect addressing. So let's start first. What is a system bus? Right? Bus is a subsystem that is used to transfer the data and other information between the devices. Means suppose if one device want to communicate with another device, so bus is used, right? Bus means like a, you can say that it's like a wire which communicate different devices like memory, CPU, input, output, right? And these are communicated with each other through the buses. So in general, what we say about a bus is said to be as a communication pathway between the connected mode devices, right? Like a key characteristics of a bus is that it is shared transmission medium and multiple devices are attached to a bus. Suppose, for example, there is a CPU, there is input output device, and there is memory. Clear? And if CPU want to communicate with input output or CPU want to send the information to memory, right? CPU want to send any address to the memory or input output wants to communicate with CPU or with memory. So we must require a bus. That's the functioning of bus. Or we can say that if there are lots of resistors, like suppose we can say that resistor 1 want to send the information to resistor 2, right? Resistor 1 means you can say that there is an accumulator resistor or program counter resistor or any other resistor, and resistor 2, like for example address resistor is there. So there are any resistor want to communicate, send the information to another resistor, so the system must require a bus. Without bus the communication is not possible in architecture, right? So typically a bus consist of multiple communication paths, right? Means multiple communication paths means if a device want to send information to another device, so it must require lots of paths between the devices, and which are either in the form of wires or metal lines etched in a cardboard. Each line is capable of transmitting the binary information in the form of 0 and 1. So the computer system contains a number of different buses, right? But system bus means this is not a single bus. If we talk about a system bus, this is not a single bus. System bus means it can be a data bus, it can be a control bus or address bus, right? So that provide a pathway between the component at various levels of computer hierarchy. So any bus consists of typically in the form of about 50 to 100 separate lines, right? This is the range a particular system bus can contain. So basically system bus, we can say that system bus are the buses which are used as a communication pathway between different types of devices through which one device can communicate with another device. Like the device can be any input output want to send a communication through CPU, through memory, CPU want to communication through memory, so bus is required. If resistors want to communicate or if any device want to fetch the data from another device, so bus must be required. But we go to the next slide. You can see here in this slide there are three components basically. Here we talk about the different types of buses. There are three types of buses. First we must know about the three types of buses. The first is called the control bus, second is called the address bus, and third is called the data bus. We will discuss here one by one. And in this diagram, we will discuss the communication pathway between three different types of devices. The first is the CPU, second is the memory, and third is the input output unit. So here we will discuss how these buses will help to these three devices to communicate with a multiple pathway, right? As you can see here, this dotted line, this one, from here, this shows, this dotted line, this shows that is a bus. Bus means this contains three different types of buses: control, data, and address bus. Bus is also known as a line, means control bus is also known as a control line. Address bus is also known as a address line, and data bus is also known as a data line, right? So before starting the architecture of this bus diagram, first we will discuss what is a data line. First we will discuss the data bus. then we will discuss the address bus, and then we will discuss the control bus, right? First, what is a data line? The data lines provide a path for moving the data between system modules. What do you mean by this? The meaning of this is through data lines, or we can say that the data bus. Data bus means that bus, that path through which the data is communicated between the devices. It is a bidirectional, which means data lines are used to transfer the data in both direction. This is important. This is bidirectional. Data line is bidirectional. As an example, the CPU can read the data on the lines from the memory as well as send the data to these lines to memory location or to a port. We will read these lines after later. First, see the diagram here. Here we will discuss about the data bus or data line. As we can see here, the data bus is communicated through CPU from this to this, from here to here. If we here see, the data line is attached with memory through this line, and it is attached with input output through this line. Means, what do you mean by this? What it shows? Don't see here at this time the control and address bus. Here we discuss about the data bus. So see these three lines, how these are connected through CPU, memory and input output. Here data bus is communicated with CPU, memory and input output. So these two arrows shows there is a bidirectional communication. Bidirectional communication means the CPU can send the data to data bus as well as data bus can send the data to CPU. Similarly, it is bidirectional with memory also. As you can see, the double arrow shows there is a bidirectional communication between memory and a data bus. Similarly, there is a bidirectional communication between data bus and input output unit. Now, as you can see in this diagram, there is no communication between CPU and memory like this. There is no communication between CPU and input output like this. This is not possible. This is not possible in this computer architecture. What do you mean by this? This is not possible. Yes, this is not possible means one device cannot communicate directly with each other. If CPU want to send any information to memory, or memory or input output want to send any information to memory, means any one of these devices want to communicate with each other, then these first must communicate through the data lines, right? Means first CPU send the information to data bus. From data bus, the memory can fetch the data or input output can fetch the data. Clear? And suppose if we say that input output want to communicate through CPU, so first CPU send the information to the data bus, and after that the data bus can fetch the data from input output unit. Clear? So now next come here the data line. Like, read this example. As an example, the CPU can read the data on these data lines from memory as well as send the data out of these lines to a memory location or a port, right? Means what it says, the CPU can send the data through memory. CPU can send the through memory, but these cannot communicate it directly. These should be connected with the data bus. CPU send the information to data bus and data bus connected or fetch the information from the data bus, right? And in any bus, the number of lines in data lines, it shows how many number of lines in the data lines. It can be 8, 16, 32, or it can be any range. It is depending on the size of the bus, right? So these lines are collectively called the data bus. So from this I thought it's clear to all of you. So next move on the address line. So first we will read about this. What is address line? Address line, or it is known as a address bus. The address lines are collectively called the address bus, right? In any bus, the number of lines in addresses are usually 16, 20, 24 and more. means it shows the sizes of the address bus. It can be minimum to 16, 20, 24, or it's more than 24, depending upon the type and the architecture of the bus. Now, on these lines, the CPU send out the address to the memory location. Read out this line again. On these lines, the CPU send out the address of memory location on the input output port that is to be written or read from memory. Means we can say that, this is important, it is an internal channel from CPU to memory across which the address of data are transmitted. Means the information is transmitted and the communication is one way. What do you mean by this communication is one way, and what is the meaning of this example? So we will discuss this from this diagram. Now here we will talk about the address bus. First we should know about what is an address bus. Like in data bus, as we discussed, data bus contain the data. It share the data between the CPU, between the memory, and between the input output. Similarly, as the name suggests, address bus means it contains the addresses of various devices, the addresses of various locations, right? Suppose address of one register, address of any other component, right? So address bus contain various addresses. So if we see the connection between CPU, memory, and input output through address bus, CPU is connected like this. And if we want see about the connection with memory, memory is connected like this, and input output is connected like this, right? What do you mean by this? The CPU is a unidirectional, as you can see. Means CPU can send the data to the address bus but cannot fetch the data. Address bus is communicated through memory is also unidirectional. Means memory can fetch the data from address bus but cannot send the data. But the input output unit is bidirectional. Clear? So address bus works the combination of both, like unidirectional as well as bidirectional. Unidirectional with CPU and memory, and bidirectional with input output. Clear? Means what do you mean by this? Address bus contain the address of the data, right? Address of any data means there is any data, any operand, so that operand is located at which address. So CPU, if memory want to know the address of the data, so that address is defined by the CPU. So if memory want to communicate with CPU, memory want to know the address of the data, so CPU send the data to the address bus, and from address bus memory fetch the addresses. But input output unit can say, communicate bidirectionally. There is no problem with input output unit. Clear? So move here. What it says here, the communication is one way, that is the address is sent from the CPU to memory and input output port, but not memory and input output port send addresses to CPU on the line, and hence these lines are unidirectional, right? Clear? Now, the next is the control line, right? Control lines. Control lines are collectively known as the control buses. Control lines means, as the name suggests, control lines are used to control as a like a control bus, which control the whole system, which control the data bus, which control the address bus. It manages all the work, whether these are working correctly or not. Means if CPU want to send the data to memory, or memory want to fetch the data, or input output want to fetch the data through the data line, then control line manage whether these devices are working properly or not, or is there any problem in the data transfer or any problem in the address transfer, right? Now here, the control lines are the gateway used to transmit and receive control signals between the microprocessors and various devices attached to it, right? Means we can say that the control lines are used by the CPU for communicating with other devices within the computer. Before reading these different types of signals, how these signals work between the control lines, we will move to this diagram. Now, here we will discuss about the control bus. Control bus. So we will see the structure, how it is connected with CPU, memory, and input output. So as you can see here, the control bus is connected with CPU with bidirectionally. It is connected with memory as bidirectionally and connected with input output as bidirectionally. Means we can say that control bus communicate with CPU memory and input output with bidirectional communication. There is a no unidirectional communication as it was in the address bus, right? Means control bus C control the information about the data, about the address bus key, how these are communicated with each other, whether they are working properly or not. These all about the control line. Like for example, as you can see here, there are different types of control signals like memory read, memory write, input output read, input output write, bus request, bus grant. What do you mean by this? Means if memory want to read some data, if memory want to write some data, or if input output device, if any input output device want to read the data, want to write the data, or if any bus request. What do you mean by here bus request? There is a word, this word that is called bus request and bus grant. What do you mean by this? That is the word bus request and bus grant. Bus request means these bus request and bus grant, we will discuss these things also in the DMA, right? When we will discuss, but you should know about the meaning of these words, bus request and bus grant. Bus request means if one device want to communicate another device, then it must request, it want to fetch the data. For example, suppose CPU want to send the data to memory through data bus. If we want to talk about bus request and bus grant, here we will talk about the data bus. Just a minute. Right. Here we will talk about the, suppose CPU want to send the data to memory, right? So first it must request for the bus. Request for the bus means it request for the data line that it want to send the data to memory. And if permission permitted by the bus, then it is called the bus grant. Means the grant is permitted to the CPU and CPU can send the data to the memory. Clear? So I think it's almost clear from this diagram. So I want to sum up this topic that is called the system bus. System bus means you can say that it's like a communication pathway between various types of devices, and there are three types of buses, that is called a data bus, address bus and control bus. Whereas data bus contain the data, address bus hold the addresses of various components, various devices, and control bus control the system. Data bus and control bus both are bidirectional, whereas address bus work on the unidirectional. I think it's almost clear from this diagram. So now we will move further. This is the next topic, that is called the direct and indirect instruction. This is also the most important topic, direct and indirect instruction. Why it's most important? Because when we will discuss about the instruction cycle, in instruction cycle it's very most important part will discuss and will a part of the instruction cycle, and it will be a part of the instruction format also, right? Means we should know about what do you mean by direct instruction, what do you mean by indirect instruction, and how they will work, how they will affect in the system, and how they will affect from the architecture. So from this diagram and from this comparison, we will discuss what do you mean by direct and indirect instruction. So before moving, what do you mean by direct and indirect instruction, we should know what do you mean by an instruction. Instruction means when we are giving a command to any computer, right? When we are giving a command, when a device want to give a command to another one, or right, that is called an instruction, right? That is called an instruction. So there are two types of instructions, that is called a direct instruction as well as an indirect instruction. So what is the difference between these two things? What do you mean by direct and indirect instruction? So let's see. Direct instruction, this is one of the addressing instructions which are widely used in computer system for storing the data into main memory or the register of that very system. First, we will read about this, then I will discuss what do you mean by this, these words, what this line says. The type of addressing instruction which the instruction code, which is the secondary part of directly corresponding to the operand's memory address, is called the direct address instruction. What do you mean by direct address instruction? Direct address instruction means those instruction when we want to find the address of any operand. Listen carefully. When we want to find the address of any operand and at a single address, at a particular address, the operand is found. At a single address, the operand is found, that is called direct addressing. Now read out the definition of indirect addressing. Then we will move to the diagram. From the diagram, it will be more clear to you. This is also one of the addressing instructions which are widely used in computer system for storing the data into the main memory or the register of that very system. The type of addressing instruction in which the instruction code, which is the secondary part of directly corresponding to the operand effective address, is called indirect addressing. What do you mean by indirect addressing? Indirect addressing, what it says, in memory, in computer memory, this is called, suppose there is a computer memory is there, right? This is a memory and there are various addresses in the memory. Suppose this is a memory and there are various types of addresses in the memory. Clear? Here I will compare the direct and indirect addressing. This is memory and this is also a memory, right? Now, first we will discuss what is indirect addressing. Indirect addressing means when we want to find the operand value in the memory, then we move to a particular address in the memory, but in that address, the operand is not located. In that address, it also contains the address of another address. It's worked like a pointer, right? So it contains another address. So we will move to another address, and at that address, the operand is found. It will be more clear from here. Suppose this is a memory, and these are the various types of addresses. Clear? So when at a particular location, at this address, when operand is found, that is called a direct. And what is indirect? When a particular address, when a particular address, the operand is not found, it contain another address, suppose. So here operand is found, that is called indirect. So we will move to the diagram. From the diagram, it will be more clear to you. As you can see here, this diagram shows, I think just a minute, I'll move here. Okay. Now here, the first, you can see here, this shows the instruction format. This diagram shows the instruction format. What do you mean by instruction format? Instruction format means it shows the format of an instruction. By default, the instruction is of 16-bit, where the format is of fixed size. 0 to 11 is the address of the operand. 12, 13, 14, it consists of the opcode, and 15 is the I bit. Before discussing the direct and indirect address, you must know about this instruction format. Clear? Now here, from 0 to 11, it consists of the address of the operand. Address of the operand means it shows where the operand is located. It shows the address of the operand. 12, 13, and 14. It is of 3-bit. Opcode. It shows the opcode value. Opcode means it shows the operation code. Operation code means like addition. Like for example, if you want to add 2 operands, if you want to subtract SUB 2 operands, if you want to multiply 2 operands. So opcode value can be vary from 000 to 111. That is the opcode value. You must be know about this opcode value. From means it will be vary from 0 to 7. This is the opcode value. This is defined by the system by default. At which location the add operation will be there, at which operation the subtraction will be there, at which operation the sum with carry, binary operation, there are lots of things are there, right? Now we will move the point I. What do you mean by I? I is a mode value. I is called a mode, right? What do you mean by mode? It is of a single bit. What it shows, the value of I is can be 1 or it can be 0. 1 means when the value of I is 1, it means it is a indirect address. You must remember about this. When the value of I is 1, it is an indirect address, and the value of I is 0, it is direct address, right? I'm repeating again. The value of I is 1, it means it is an indirect address, and the value of I is 0, it is direct address. Now come to the diagram. Just a minute. I'm moving it here. Now come to the diagram. What this diagram shows, this one, left one diagram shows the direct address, and right one diagram shows the indirect address. First we will discuss about the direct address. As you can see, this is a memory, right? This line shows the instruction format which we will discuss here. Means this is of 15-bit. 457 shows the address of the operand. This is the opcode, which is of 3-bit. Here we can take any opcode. Like for example, here we take opcode add. You can take subtract. You can take multiply. Any opcode you can take here. And 0 represent the value of I. So by default, when we will see the value of I, here it is 0. 0 means we can easily guess this thing that the operand is directly found. The address of operand can be directly found in the memory at a single location, right? Means here you can see, right? The second part implies memory address of operand. Clear? Means what do you mean by this? And in memory, this is a instruction format. It is located at a address 22. You can take, this is defined by the memory, right? Now what do you mean by direct address? This shows the address of the operand. Means memory gives go to this address, go to this location, and at this location the operand value is found. Okay, then we will move from here and go to the address location 457, and the operand is found directly in the memory. Clear? Because 0 means direct, go to the direct in the memory and operand is found, and that value is added into the accumulator. Accumulator register, basically what it does, we have already discussed in the register class. Accumulator register is the most popular register, and it is used to store the intermediate results as well as the final results, right? So what do you mean? I think from this diagram clear, we move at a single address, and that address operand is found. Now move to the second one diagram, that is called the indirect address. What do you mean by indirect address? This is a memory. Same. This is an instruction format, and this instruction located at location 35, located by the memory. And what it shows, go to the 300 location in the memory, and that location the address operand, the operand must be found. But from the value of I, we can see here I is 1. I is 1 means we can easily guess, means the address, this is an indirect address, means when we go to that particular address, it must contain another address. Okay, so we should move to the 300 address. Okay, here we will move to the 300 address, but at 300 address is does not find the operand. 300 also locate another address like a pointer. This address contain another address contain the another address. Then okay, then we will move to the address 1350, and at this address operand is found. So I think it must be clear from this diagram and this diagram. What to sum up this, what I'd say, indirect address, what it shows, go to the particular location. Okay, we will move to the particular location and the operand is found. At a single location operand is found, that is called direct. And indirect is we will move to the address 300 but it contain another address. So at another address the operand is found, that is called indirect, and the value is added into the accumulator, right? So in the next slide here we discussed about the differences between direct and indirect addresses. I'll slide here. So direct and indirect addresses, what it shows, like see, it contains the effective address, okay, and it provides the address part of the memory where effective address is stored. Means it contains at a single address and at that address the operand is found. But effective address means here we will move to a particular address and that address contain another address and another address it contain an operand. Second point, access of the data is done through the single reference. Means we will move, we have to move at a single reference at a single place and the address is found, but here we have to move at the multiple references. Here no extra overhead is required to search the operand effective address, but there is a very much of overhead is there to search the operand effective address. It's very fast because we will move at a particular location and the operand address is found, but it slows down the process. It's a lengthy process in direct address. What it says, it first read the instruction, then it read the operand. But what it shows, read the instruction, read the effective address and read the operand. It is faster, it is slower. It is a small address. Wait just a minute. I will move it here. It requires a small space and it requires a large address, right? Now this is the last one. We should know about what is an effective address also. The effective address is a 32-bit address computed by the processor. First thing, it is a 32-bit address defined by the processor at the time of executing the branch instruction, memory access, or while retrieving the next sequential instruction. The effective address calculation regarding data and instruction, retrieve employee. This is the most important about effective address. It is a 32-bit unsigned binary arithmetic. It must be of 32-bit. It must be unsigned and binary arithmetic integer. Right? What do you mean by effective address? It will be clear from this diagram. When memory says that go to this particular address and that at that address the operand is found. So we move at the 457 location, the address of the operand is found. So 457 here, this is called effective address in direct addressing. Here this is the effective address of direct addressing, right? Now move to the indirect addressing. Here when memory says you go to the 300 location, okay, we will move to the 300 location, but it also contained another address 1350. We will move at 1350 and here operand is found. Now here between 300 and 1350, which is the effective address, 1350 is basically the effective address. Effective address is that address where operand is found. I think from this diagram, from this all discussion from direct, indirect addressing, and from this differences, it must be most clear to you. So today's lecture we have already discussed about the system buses, various types of buses, and the direct and indirect addressing. So thank you all of you. Thank you very much.